Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Famata Warfield, or you can call me Emily, whichever suits you. Recently, I made a video about Aaliyah J, and she was under fire for gaining weight, for no longer people calling her, she's no longer the it girl because she's gained weight. And here's what I had to say. And of course, this video has sparked controversy on whether there is a downside to pretty privilege or not, which I think there is, but here's what I had to say. What's happening to Aaliyah J right now is a perfect example that there is a downside to pretty privilege. Not too long ago, people were up and down my FYP fighting beautiful women and telling them, oh, there is no downside to pretty privilege. You're just pretty and you just get everything good. When you are a beautiful woman and the world sees you as that and holds you to that standard, you cannot slip. You cannot gain weight. You cannot look a certain way people are not expecting you to look. You can't age. You gain weight, people are going to treat you like Aaliyah over here. People are going to start talking shit about you. People are going to start looking at you like, oh, what happened to you? It's so sad and unfortunate that we live in a world when people see somebody who gains weight and their immediate reaction is, oh, what happened to you? Instead of taking a step back and thinking, is she okay? Is everything okay going on in her life? Because nobody just gains weight for no reason. Like, it could be a medical issue. She could be depressed. She could have a mental something going on. Or she could just be happy. She could just be like, you know what? I am at a time in my life where I like my body the way it is. If I get bigger, I get bigger. I'm just going to enjoy my favorite foods and I'm just going to live my life, which is perfectly okay too. But the first thing, and the funny part about all of this is always women who look the worst. They look worse than that person calling them out. And this also, of course, happens in friendships and family members. You come home after being away for so long and you gain weight, and the first thing that comes out of people's mouth is, you gain a lot of weight, you need to lose some weight. It's so disgusting. But this whole thing is really, truly, at the end of the day, there is a downside to pretty privilege. When you're beautiful, you are expected to stay beautiful. You cannot slip. And to the women who take the stance of, there is no downside to pretty privilege, are women who either feel like they don't have it or they feel like they don't get attention from men, and they see the attention that women get from other men and they think, oh, there is no downside. But they don't consider everything else that comes from it. They don't consider the constant, like somebody coming at you constantly sexualizing you. They don't consider that because they want that so badly. They don't see a downside to it. And of course, there were people underneath my comment section arguing, disagreeing, and some people had made some really good points, saying things like, is it a downside to pretty privilege, or has she lost that pretty privilege? Which is honestly a good comment to make, and I just want to hear your opinion on this down in the comment section. I am about to show you a creator that actually made a really good point to this on whether there is a downside to pretty privilege or not. Again, I think my stance on it is there is a downside to it. And of course, in life, with anything, there's always pros and cons to everything. I still do believe as a woman, no other woman gets criticized more than a beautiful woman who has been put in the limelight and they've been seen as this con. She's so gorgeous. And then when she starts to lose her beauty, whether it's aging or she no longer keeps up with herself or gaining weight, they are highly scrutinized because of that. There is no other woman who receives that. Yes, I understand that some of the things that beautiful women experience, it's not only just to beautiful women, like other non-beautiful women experience those things. I guess my stance on is that beautiful women get it more than women who are deemed not as attractive in this world. And I do like hearing other people's opinions and perspective. And one of these creators right here that I'm about to show you, she's absolutely amazing. She's so intelligent. She put this in a way where it's kind of shifting my mindset a little bit on pretty privilege and whether there's a downside to it. And I also want to add that this conversation in no way is insinuating just because you are not as pretty or the world sees you not as pretty that you don't deserve, if something happened to you, that you don't deserve to be believed. That's not what I'm saying at all. Honestly, every woman deserves to be believed. And all women do get harassed. And violence is violence at the end of the day. No woman deserves it, whether you are seen as a pretty person or not. I just want to add that in this video. When you are a beautiful woman and the world sees you as that and holds you to that standard, you cannot slip.
Allow me to offer an alternative perspective here because I think I figured out why there's so much contentious debate around this topic. It's because of the terminology. When you say pretty privilege, we start having a different conversation than the one I think that we're intending to have. If you were to say, is there a downside to being a pretty person? I'm sure a pretty person will say, well, yeah, sometimes you get too much attention, or you don't know somebody really likes you for you. They just like you because you're good looking. Those are inconvenient aspects of being a pretty person. But when we're talking about a downside has to be in tandem with the upside. And that isn't consistent when it comes to being a beautiful person, because beauty carries you through life. It's literally a privilege. And a privilege is an advantage that you have that you didn't give yourself, that you normally don't even recognize you have until society makes you aware of it. So being born beautiful, being born rich, being born white, these are things that are going to open doors for you, give you extra opportunities and benefits that other people who don't have that privilege don't experience. So even if you do have some temporary inconsistencies or inconveniences, I'll say, you're still going to have more advantages than anything else, because that's the point of a privilege. Now, what you're describing is somebody no longer being seen as pretty, and what happens as a result of that. Being removed from the status of pretty is not a downside to pretty privilege. You're no longer in that bracket. So there's certain things in society that we've been conditioned to see as beautiful, and certain things that make you less beautiful, like gaining weight or aging badly. That may remove you from your status as a pretty person. And in doing so, you're going to be treated like everybody else. So being removed from the pedestal you were on is going to feel like a major disadvantage or downside, because you're not used to being treated like a normal person, because your beauty has been held in high regard. So that's what you're describing. There's no downside to a privilege, because a privilege is literally an advantage that you have. There's no disadvantage to an advantage, but there can be inconveniences to being a pretty person. Good things can have bad with them. But I think that if you remove the word privilege, you can have the conversation that you all are trying to have, and then you can make it a little more broad, because it's on an individual level. Pretty people can chime in, people who aren't conventionally pretty can chime in, and you can actually talk about the issue as a whole. So I think you guys should remove that, and please do it, because I want to watch and see what the conversations are like.
Honestly, she makes a really good point. Is there really a downside to pretty privilege, or do pretty people experience bad things? In my opinion, I feel like it goes in tandem, because you have pretty privilege, like that's something that you have, and what also comes with it is the negativity that comes with it. I did my own research. I'm gonna post the links underneath this video so you can go ahead and read it for yourself. I got a couple of things from ChatGPT that just gave me examples on the downside that come with pretty privilege. But let me know what you think. I would love to hear your comments, your thoughts, and your opinion on this. Thank you. Bye. Before you go, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and share.